We ask you to be here with us, Father. Dispatch your angels in every corner. Strengthen us to do what we need to do tonight, Father, and be the force you need us to be. In your Son, Jesus' name, amen. All right. Tonight is number 6. We're pretty excited about the classes tonight. We're going to be talking about insurance, talk about some pre-investment stuff, fill out some forms tonight, get you ready for class number 7. But before we start class tonight, I want to get all the questions answered from the last class and talk a little bit about the homework. We're not giving out a bunch of homework. We're just kind of following up to make sure you guys understand the stuff we've been talking about. So what have we been talking about? Well, we've been talking about your cash flow strategy piece. How much cash are you finding inside your homes? Are you able to find money and get rid of some of the excess expenses to find money, see? So the first thing in any class for putting together a financial roadmap is to find out where the money is going. So you guys in the very first class, we talked about where's your money going. Gave you a worksheet to find out if you're in the black or you're in the red. Black means you're okay, you're balancing out. Red means you got more money going out than coming in. So if you got more money going out than coming in, you got to make some tough decisions on what you need to do. Then we talked about finding cash flow. We got into taxes, your W-4 and things of that nature. Understanding that if you getting back $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year on your taxes, you're getting back too much money. That's money you can use right now to start paying off debt, putting together an investment plan. So finding money is the key and giving your money new direction. All right, so we've talked about a lot of stuff. The financial binder is important. It leaves a roadmap if something happens to you, how you want your personal affairs to be dispensed among your family, friends, or charitable organizations. So make sure you take the financial binder as a very serious thing you need to get completed. This is going to be a serious class tonight. Going to be talking about insurance and some other stuff. So, and you guys are getting ready to go into something called open season. Everybody know what open season means? Open season means you get a chance to select new benefits and stuff, right? So it's really important you listen to this class tonight because there can be some serious benefits that you need to understand also about open season and how you're going to benefit from this class to understand open season. Candace get a chance to go into detail and talk a little bit about that, the pros and cons of taking advantage of open season. And before I turn it over to Candace, guys, have you guys started putting together your debt elimination plan? Has anybody started putting together a debt elimination plan with the extra cash that you found inside your homes? Okay. You got one going? Okay. We're going to do something a little different. And I need these guys over this table right over here to move. Let's fill these tables in here. Because you have to reach way over there and talk to you. So I need people at this table to come to this table. I need you to come to this table so we can kind of fill these first 3 or 4 tables in right here. Or you can come to that table right there, You guys can go to that table right there if you want to. But let's fill out these first 3 or 4 tables right here so that we can have easy interaction with you. Thank you so much for being kind. Thank you so much. All right. Get them all filled in. Good deal. Okay. Got some homework for you tonight for the next class, but I'll give it out when Candace finishes doing her presentation tonight. Okay, everybody, give it up for Miss Candace Woodruff.
We're good to go. Yeah, I think so. Let's see. All right, mic check. Hello, everyone. Everybody doing okay? All right. So let's do me a favor. Today, because y'all sound a little, like, oh yeah, we here and we made it, but that's about it. So let's see how we're doing. So let's do this. Can anyone, and actually just like majority of the class, give me an adjective that describes your day? It doesn't matter what it starts with. Go for it. Chaotic. Okay.
Like in the work, our power had been out, half the computers were buzzing.
Right.
You didn't get one phone call, you got 3 phone calls at the same time.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
At break time, I just kind of.
Gotcha. So tell me what you're grateful for.
I'm grateful that I made it through.
There we go. All right. I love it.
And
Okay.
it was like my daughter having a moment, and it was a good moment. She said, "Mama, I went by the house and put some groceries in your refrigerator." I'm like, "Do I got the right phone number?"
That's it. That's it.
You know, when we first started this class, I was talking to
Deacon
y'all
Thomas?
about that cash out and
Uh-huh.
putting money out, and so I just told them that I'm really struggling trying to balance everything out because I'm running in circles, and I was received, and I was
Wow.
heard.
Wow. That's wonderful.
So,
Is it okay if I repeat? Okay, so she said today has been chaotic, but she made it through. And then she said, I expressed my concern about my financials with my family and friends, people that I send money to all the time, and I was seen and heard, and her daughter put grocery in her refrigerator today. I love that. That's it. That's it. Sometimes it's just good to talk about it, right? That's wonderful. Anybody else want to give an adjective about their day?
I had a fantastic.
Fantastic day. That's good.
Everything that I wanted to accomplish, I did.
Absolutely. Everything she wanted to accomplish today, she did. She had a list of stuff. She got it done. All right. Anybody else? Go for it. You had a happy day. I like that. Good.
Had experienced a setback with the flu and pneumonia shot.
Wow.
So that shut me down for a few days. But to be able to get up on this day and take a walk,
Absolutely.
the weather was beautiful. I felt happy.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good. That's good. Sometimes it's good to hear other people, because not that you compare yourself, but you can always hear how somebody might have went through something a little bit worse than you did. And it could always be worse, right? Yeah. So that's awesome. So today we're going to talk about a few things. We have a lot of content. Make sure, did everyone get the extra documents? They were on the back. Everybody get them? If not, grab it. If you're online, it's okay. We're just going to be walking through the slides and stuff together, so we'll be good to go. All right, so tonight, let's make sure I can move. Here we go. There we go. We're going to talk about a few things. Insurance. We're going to talk about your intro to investing, your risk profile, what kind of investor you are, all of those kind of things. So we're going to give some examples. We'll talk back and forth. Make sure if you have questions, raise your hand, and we're going to communicate that way. Everybody good? Say good. All right. So my first thing, I always give a thought of the night. And the first concept is that an investment is not always money. Ooh. An investment is not always money, but it's always a commitment. So what kind of commitment are you giving with this class? Being here. Time. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? What kind of commitment are you giving with the class? What have you committed to?
If I miss anything, I still go online and see the afterwards.
She said if she misses something, she goes online and watches it and makes sure she didn't miss any documents and stuff like that. That's good. That's a commitment. Anybody else? I'm doing the homework. She said, Deacon Thomas give us so much homework, I'm just wanting to get it done. That's good. That's good. That's wonderful. It's always a commitment, and we have to think about when we're committing ourselves and really going into things, we're investing in ourselves, and that's the best thing we could do, because the investment in yourself never goes anywhere else. It's always internal. From that, you always have to consider that I must invest in myself at the level at which I expect results. So if I go out and I do just a little bit, guess what I'm going to get back? Just a little bit. Ooh, y'all got it. But if I get my debt plan together, I participate full out in class, I do my work, that's how you get more money on your paycheck. Because she didn't just fill out the W-4, she went and turned it in. That's how you get your mortgage paid off and cut the years almost in half, because she didn't just come to class, but she implemented the information that was in class. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm like, giving y'all good shout outs, right? Any other good stories? Because we hadn't. Oh, yeah, go for it. Let's see.
Car insurance.
Yeah, you're doing this. This is good. I know it's gonna be good. As soon as you raise your hand, come back.
Maybe not. That means I don't have to.
Not like that.
It's a user error. It's me. It's not you. Okay. I think I pushed the button too many times. It was on? Oh, it was my fault. Okay, I cut it off. There you go.
I shopped around for my car insurance and auto insurance, and my car insurance was $120 and it dropped to $85.
Wow.
And my home insurance dropped to $1,000.
Wow. That's amazing.
And
Go ahead, give me some. Give me goosebumps, girl. It's
I
already.
paid off 3 bills.
Congratulations.
And my credit score went up 3 points.
Yeah!
That's good in itself.
Yeah. What a blessing. What a blessing. Write that down for me. Write your question down for me. We're gonna do a whole session at the end. Perfect. Isn't that wonderful? Oh man, give her a hand. That's amazing. Awesome. She invested in herself at the level at which she expected results. That's what happened. Sometimes we don't do things because it feels like we just don't understand. When we come to classes, sometimes it's like we speak in a foreign language, or they talking about a whole lot of stuff that I don't know anything about, or it's like I ain't got no money. Yes, I said it just like that. I ain't got no money. That sounds terrible, right? I don't have any money, so I don't feel like I need to go to this class because I don't have it. But those are those mental blocks that we have when it comes to our money. Right? So well, Deacon Thompson and I talk all the time, and it's this whole concept. It says that when people are sick, they go to a doctor. When their teeth hurt, they go to an orthodontist. But why is it that when they need to know about wealth, they go to their neighbor who don't know nothing about wealth? Y'all thought I was going to say something real nice there. But this is the thing. So what we want to do in this class is we want to introduce you to concepts and things that we want to nip in the bud what you heard about, and let's talk to you about what's really happening and what the things in your life could be happening for you. So tell me this. It's your turn. What's your greatest asset? Now, if you've been to class before, hold on. Don't answer first. If you've been to class before, don't answer first because you might already know the answer. Oh. Well, maybe not. Everybody answer. Let's do it. What would you consider your greatest asset?
Me.
Knowledge, myself. Okay. That's good. That's perfect. Like y'all got it. Many times, I'll tell you what we used to hear a whole lot before we got people start coming to class. They say, anybody say the house? My house is my greatest asset. My car. All those things, right? But you all understand already that your greatest asset is you. And your ability to produce income is your greatest asset. So if you had a goose that laid golden eggs, I know y'all are going to get it right. So I'm going to talk to the online people, okay? I'm not even going to talk to y'all in class. No, I'm just kidding. If you had a goose that laid golden eggs, would you insure the goose or the eggs? The goose? She said both, okay. All right. The goose. Anybody say the eggs? It's okay if you say the eggs. Like, no, I'm going to do the eggs. Like, they golden. You can eat them. That's good. Well, you got it, right? The concept is to insure the goose. You could say both if you desire, but the concept is to insure the goose. Why? Because the goose lays more eggs. So your ability, so you're the goose in your life, right? You're the goose. You lay the golden eggs, which is the cars, the houses, the nice things, right? But if your ability to produce income stops, what happens? The golden eggs go away, right? So there's this concept that's called your economic value. If you're following with me on the document that I gave you, you should have a form that says, what is your economic value? Okay? When you look at your economic value, it's basically just saying, what is your money potential from now until the time you decide to stop working? Okay? So your yearly income times the number of years you have left to work. Oh, somebody said, that's tough, right? Let's figure it out. You have a document. I want you to put it on your paper. What is your economic value? Don't answer out loud. And I'm going to give you an example. So let's say you make $40,000 a year. You have another 30 years to work. Your economic value is $1.2 million. Okay? And that's if you never get a raise. So what is your economic value? Don't answer out loud. You don't have to tell me. But I need you to write it down on your documents. Get your calculator out. Do the math. What is it? What's wrong? Nothing. You seem like you got a thought. It's okay if you do. We can talk about it. What is your economic value? Now, can anybody tell me what the second question is on that document you have? Is it protected? Oh, Okay. She said no because you can lose your job any day. But let's talk about that. Now, God forbid any bad things happen to any of us, but we know life happens. Let's say kids texting and driving down the road, and they're not paying attention and they run you over. The question is, where does your income come from if you cannot go to work for the next month or 3? Hopefully, who has insurance? The one that hit you. Well, that sounds good, but we're going on a hope, and hope is not a strategy. So we're going to have to do something else. The question is, and it's always that thought, right? And we many times don't want to think about these things, but it's a real thing, because are people texting and driving every day? And we're not even talking about kids anymore. Like, yeah, just not paying attention, not being present. So let's say something like that happens. Like, it's a real question. Where does your income come from?
Life insurance,
Okay.
accidental insurance.
You didn't die, though. You didn't die. So life insurance won't come in play. You didn't die.
Short-term and long-term disability
Okay.
insurance, and
Good.
it was one more.
Good.
Hospitalization insurance.
All right, good. Now, is your economic value protected? Because you named off a whole lot of things that's supposed to be in place. Are those things in place? Those are the real questions. So what we like to call it is income protection. Is your income protected from the standpoint of you not being able to go to work? Do you have the proper coverages in place to cover you? So she got it right. It's long-term disability, short-term disability. These are concepts and different programs that'll pay you if you're unable to go to work. So let's look at those. Short-term disability, and on your document you can write that in, short-term disability. All right. Should be like a blank. One is short-term, one is long-term. And then you can write the definition under it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They should be at the back on the shelf. All right, so short-term disability covers you for less than 3 months. Normally, this kind of coverage costs a little bit more during the process. It normally has a really, what's called an elimination period, a very short elimination period, 5 days, 7 days. So once you're maybe 1 month, those short time frames is when your coverage actually begins if the doctor says you're unable to go to work. Okay, that's your short-term disability. Your long-term disability is a 3 months or more kind of policy. You're unable to work, normally the elimination period, which means when your coverage starts, let's say you get hurt, and then you have a period in between you getting hurt. That's called your elimination period. So from that perspective, this one may be a little longer. It says you may have a 30-day or 60-day elimination period, which means you got hurt in January. You don't start your payments until, let's say, March. Okay, that's the time frame that you have to stay hurt before your coverage starts. Ooh, somebody just hurt. Somebody just learned something. She's like, oh my God. Yeah, you have to be paying attention to these things. So inside of that elimination period, there has to be some money set up, but we'll talk about that in a moment. That's when your long term will actually start. So that could be a 30-day thing. It could be a 60-day. It could be 5 days. Whatever you prefer or whatever you signed up for is what's important on how this works. That term can last 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 50 years, up to age 67. Depends on what you actually purchased with your plan. All right? Gave me some looks. Yes, ma'am.
What happened to me was I got hurt at work,
Okay.
and my bills were the same, but my income was 2/3.
That's real good.
And it was like,
Let me repeat what you said real quick. Is that okay? She said, whenever I got hurt, my bills were the same. I got hurt at work. My bills were the same, but my income from the disability was like 2/3 of my actual money. Oh. Can you speak to that real quick, Deacon Thomas?
Absolutely. The tax code is designed, but first round, the disability is designed to only pay you about 66 to 70% of your income.
Correct.
Okay. Now, if your employer provides it for you, it's going to be taxable to you. It's very important to understand that. So let's say if a person was, say, making $40,000 a year, and they had a disability that was paying them 60% of that, that's about $24,000, isn't it? So what's important, whatever disability you get, you want to make sure it matches your bring home income, because that's what you live out of. All right? Now, with the short-term disability and well as the long-term disability, well, I want to talk about it. Ken's going to talk about
No,
that.
go for it.
Okay.
No, we're good.
If you've got a job that's got annual sick time, you got emergency funds and those kind of things, then we don't really advocate that you do short-term disability because it's very expensive.
Right.
What you're looking for is something that's going to knock you out of the game long-term. That's where the long-term disability comes in at. And most of you guys could qualify for long-term disability anywhere from 5, 10, or 20 years. And most time it's the cheapest on your jobs, okay? So tip number 1, open season, if you don't have any kind of long-term disability, make sure you sign up for it.
That's good.
All right.
That's good.
Good deal.
All right. So what we're doing in this class, we're going to do this the whole class, because what's important is that we're getting it. Do you all have questions about that? We're going to take our time. We got questions about disability? Yes, sir. Let me repeat. How does workman comp work and disability from the government?
Yeah, workman's comp is designed to protect you on the job, okay? So if you get hurt on the job, the employer has a workman's compensation policy, which is disability, that will pay you a certain portion of your income because they are responsible for you hurt on the job. Typically, a workman's comp is going to settle that particular claim with you at some point. They don't want you on disability forever, so they'll settle that. Now, the federal government, we talk about the government, is Social Security disability. Social Security disability is the most difficult one on the planet to get approved for. Most times, you have to apply about 3 or 4 times before you get approved. So while you're trying to get approved for Social Security disability, workman's comp's taking care of you, your personal disability taking care of you. But if it's going to be a long-term disability, totally disabled, Social Security will step in and pay your disability.
That's good.
Okay?
Yes,
Well,
sir.
excuse me?
Accidental death.
AD&D? Yeah. Now, me personally, I'm not a big fan of AD&D. This is extremely inexpensive. Typically, it's kind of like you would go to McDonald's and they add on, what do they call it? When they upsell you?
Yeah, upsell.
AD&D is one of those things that kind of upsell you on insurance contracts because most times it's just not going to happen. It's just an extra expense inside the contract. But when she gets into life insurance, that kind of stuff, she'll break that down and show you what that looks like. Any disability contract is going to cover a sickness or accident, I don't care what it is, it's going to cover that particular area. So you don't need anything special for that. Okay? Okay, yeah. So anything in a disability with a good company, it's going to cover you for an accident, sickness, I don't care what it's for. Okay?
Because they push it a lot, because every time you.
They push it.
Yeah.
Oh, you got AD&D on here, it's like.
Yeah, they push
straight
it because
profit,
it's,
straight
yeah,
profit.
it's straight profit.
Straight
It's
profit.
inexpensive and doesn't normally happen.
Right.
That's how it works.
Right.
The only time we encourage AD&D is also if you don't qualify for other health insurance,
Yeah.
other life insurance products.
Yeah. And we'll get into when she gets to the life insurance, so how to qualify for certain coverages.
That's good.
Good deal.
Yes.
You revisit the short term, and you were saying short term, if you have the sick leave, don't worry about that.
If you got sick leave, vacation time, emergency fund, you really don't want to waste a ton of money on short-term disability.
Right. Let's explain now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If they pay for it, yeah, that's not your money.
Yeah, they pay for
Grab
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Get
take whatever
everything they pay for, you
yeah,
take.
you take it. Good deal. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's talk about why. So he mentioned, and I want to repeat her question. She said you mentioned you don't have to get short term. That's not at least the number one priority, and this is why. So when we talk about emergency funds, we talk about having a certain amount of money put to the side, right? I like to call them contingency funds because it's not an emergency if you could write the check. So I'm a contingency kind of person. If something happens that's an inconvenience, I should be able to write the check. And it's not an emergency, right? So from there, let's talk about your emergency funds and what that should be. I like to call it a mini contingency fund. I'm gonna change my PowerPoint one day, but I wanna make sure you can relate to me, okay? A mini emergency fund is $1,000 to $3,000. $1,000 to $3,000. A major emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of your expenses. Ooh, somebody say, ooh, yeah. I'm gonna say it again. Mini emergency is $1,000 to $3,000, and that covers things like, oh, I had a flat tire. Oh, the washing machine went out. Oh, the refrigerator went out. I need something real quick. I need to access that money. That's your mini emergency fund. When you get your first 1,000, you really made it because it's a high percentage. I can't remember exactly what it is. Deacon Thomas, you may remember. A very small percentage of amount of people have $1,000 in their savings account. So when you make it to 1,000, you've done very well, very well. All right. So with that, let's say you got $2,000 a month in monthly expenses. Now you had a worksheet that said what I spend, right? All of your expenses should be there, so you should know exactly how much money you need every single month to live off of. So from that perspective, let's call it $2,000 a month. The recommendation is that you have $1,000 in your mini emergency and $6,000 in your major emergency. So that covers you for how many months in your major emergency fund? 3 months. So when we go back to short-term disability, did you really need it if you had your emergency fund? You got it? Then is it all coming together? So what he's saying, Mr. Gina, is you don't need a short-term disability policy if you follow the steps. Get your mini emergency fund, cover yourself up for the next 1 to 3 months, preferably 3, and make sure you're okay. So now when your long-term kicks in after that 30 or 60-day elimination period, you're okay because your emergency fund was there for you so that you can begin taking care of yourself. You're okay. You don't have to borrow from anybody. I'm taking care of it. And then my long-term kicks in starting that next month. And now I still have the funds to keep going. Does that make sense? All right. Yes.
One of the things that I used to try to express to people that I was in contact with in the workplace is that to manage your leave.
Manage your leave.
Manage your leave, your sick and your annual.
Okay.
That you accrue, you accrue it monthly. And with the state, I think you can accrue up to 240 hours of annual leave a year. No, I'm sorry, not a year. Not a year. It's not 240 a year, but you can accrue a maximum of 240 hours.
We want to hear you.
Can you hear
okay.
me?
So what she said is you want to make sure you manage your leave. So say it one more time.
Okay,
You're
yeah.
accruing certain amounts of leave depending on where you work.
I want to say with sick, you accrue 8 hours a month, okay, times 12, what is that, 96, whatever. And then you accrue, it's different based on your length of employment as it relates to your annual.
Good.
But the point is that you can accrue up to, as long as you're working, you can accrue up to, I think you can carry like 240 hours over into a new year. And with the sick remains at 960. And I'm saying that's money.
Right.
That's your money.
So what you're saying, let me repeat. So what you're saying is pay attention to the amount of leave that's accruing for you and what the company already provides, because you can use that if something happens.
If something happens, that's
Absolutely.
money. That's money.
That's good. That's good. Pay attention to your leave. That's good. That's a good tip. It's a good tip.
Somebody
You had a question?
They can't hear, so whatever you do back.
Okay, we can't hear.
Somebody online said they couldn't hear. But
Somebody online said we can't hear. Okay.
Okay.
Mike, yeah, that's fine.
okay,
Yeah,
got it.
that's okay. We're going to repeat and we'll do mics as much as we can, I promise. All right, so from there, I said it. It's not an emergency if you can write the check. You should probably put that as a note because it's really important. Sometimes we have to shift our own thinking, and when you write it down, it helps you to stick a little bit better. It's not an emergency if I can write the check. It's just a mere inconvenience. Inconvenience sounds way better than emergency, doesn't it? It's a shift in your thinking. Absolutely. All right. Let's keep going. I know y'all writing it down, so I'm giving y'all a second. All right, wonderful. You have a document. You should be able to rate these illnesses from number 1 to number 4. If you've been in class before, you'll probably get it right on the first one. But if you hadn't, I'd like to hear what your answers are. Rate these illnesses. Number 1 is the most common to number 4, least common. 1 through 4. You have a document. Fill it out.
You said 1 is most common?
Yes, 1 is most common. What is the most common illness? We didn't say it killed you, but it did happen. Most common illness. Y'all look like y'all thinking. All right, that's good. Stroke, heart attack, renal failure, cancer, Cancer, renal failure, heart attack, stroke. Which one is number one? Stroke. Somebody said stroke. Stroke and heart attack. Cancer. Renal failure. Wow. We got all of them. All right, that's good. Well, who got heart attack is number one? All right. What's number two? Stroke. You got it. So heart attack is number one. That's actually the answer. Got it. I messed that up. Let's do it again. What did it say? Cut, replay. All right. So number one is heart attack. Number two is stroke. What's number three? Renal failure. Really? Cancer. And then number four is renal failure. Renal failure normally comes from many times from diabetes. It's over time. All right. So heart attack, stroke, cancer, renal failure. Many people put cancer as the number one because they promote it more than anything else. Yeah, it's every time you turn around, it's breast cancer awareness, or we got cancer this, so we got the cancer hospitals. Right, but that's not the number one. It's actually number three. Heart attack is number one cause of illness. It doesn't necessarily kill you every time, but heart attack is the number one. Wow, that's especially culturally. High blood pressure. Yeah, leading cause of illness. Number two is stroke. Number three is cancer. And then number four is renal failure. Why are we talking about these things? Yeah, so renal failure and diabetes. Renal failure normally comes from having diabetes over time. That's right. All right, perfect. So what we're talking about are critical illnesses that can actually damage everything you've worked your entire life for. So when we talk about critical illnesses, it's not necessarily that you pass away from a heart attack all the time. It's not necessary that you may pass away when you get cancer. But what happens when these bad tests come? You're unable to go to work, right? Who takes care of you if you're unable to go to work? She said nobody. We need somebody, okay. Your mom, okay. So a family member, a friend. What about a spouse?
That would be nice.
If you had one, okay, that's fine. All right. We're going to pray. We can pray if that's what we want, you know. Y'all showing out today. I see that already. Right, they cause a heart attack. That's so funny. So the concept, what we're saying is that what happens if you have the bad tests and you're unable to go to work, right? It's not that, you passed away and you got your life insurance, but it's now if this sickness comes, you're off work, your spouse or your family member or someone who's taking care of you is now off work, what happens to the finances? It drains you. Oh, that's a great word. It drains you. And when it drains you, that can actually change the trajectory of your financial path completely. All the money you put in your savings, all the things that you put to the side, the retirement account that's on your job now gets drained because of one illness, one bad test, right? And many times, I'll tell you this, many times we're more stressed about the finances that we can't even heal good. She said, say it again. I said, we're so stressed about the finances that we can't heal well. Our body doesn't even function the same way because mentally, all we're focused on is what I don't have, the lack, and what's there. Deacon Thomas, you got something?
Yeah, Candace. One of the reasons we are addressing the disability and the critical illness, a lot of people spend a lot of money on cancer insurance on their jobs.
Oh, yes.
And cancer is one specified illness, okay? Now, we're saying if you're going to spend the money on a specified type contract, then spending on a contract is going to cover all four. Mm-hmm. So critical illness, it's imperative that you understand the power of critical illness because you spend the money on cancer insurance, but you come down with a stroke or something, the cancer insurance money you're spending won't cover the stroke. So make sure if you spend that money, reposition that money, and get some good critical illness because it'll cover it all. Like Candy said, you can have saved $50,000 in your account. The health insurance takes care of who? The doctors and who? The hospitals, right? If you die, the life insurance is going to take care of you, right? But this critical illness insurance, if you become sick, it will save all your finances. I'm telling you right now. So this is
You
really
got that
important.
one? Good.
Yeah, and we're trying to line this conversation up tonight based off of what's most important. Trying to get you to reprioritize your thinking about insurance and the things you need to look at first: the disability, the critical illness, and whatever the next topic is. Just want to put that in, Candace.
That's good. That's good. So the critical illness covers what? All four. That now, if you get critical illness, do you still need 5 cancel policies? So I wish Jamil was here because she often used to tell her story about how she had 3 cancer policies and that's it. So if she had cancer, she was good, but if anything else happened, she was in trouble, right? She tells her story, and I'm sure she'll be online and she'll kind of tell you all about it, but that's a real thing. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to our coverages, even if it's on the job. Getting these kind of coverages is wonderful. If you need it off the job, let's say your job doesn't offer it, make sure you get with an insurance specialist who will make sure they can get you covered for everything. Okay? Yes, sir.
Hey, I may be asking this too early, but since I'm retired and I receive Medicare, and this is the season when you get all those calls about Medicare Plus and those additional rises and ones.
Good.
What's your thoughts about that?
Good question. I'll let Deacon Thomas answer that. So I'm going to repeat the question. Right, he's already started. I'm going to go ahead and get him in it. So I'm going to repeat the question. So he mentioned if I'm already retired and we're talking about insurances and it's time for open enrollment, I'm getting a lot of calls about Medicare, extra, Part B, all of those extra kind of coverages. What do you think about those coverages? I have my own simplistic answer, but I'm gonna let Deacon Thomas get on in there because he good.
Well, as you guys know, the Medicare program was kind of privatized in a sense. You have a lot of companies that offers Medicare, okay? So my personal opinion, I think the ones like the Humanas and those guys who are very complete with the whole programs, I think they're the best. If you got those programs, then you don't need a Medicare supplement. It's really important. There are 2 types of Medicares. There's one that the federal government offers, the old type, where you got to go out and buy another Part B and those types to offset excess costs. But Humana and I think it's a couple others have programs where it covers all of that. It's like a Medicare HMO. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the ones that I see advertised is more so like the dental,
Yeah.
zero prescription pay. I think they got an additional for the OTC now. And it only shows in vision, but the amount of coverage, dental is like $1,000.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, from the outside looking in, I don't see where the benefit.
There's a benefit. I'm going to repeat what you said, okay? So he said that a lot of times when they're advertising to him, there are a lot of supplements. It's dental, it's vision, it's all these things, but it doesn't seem as if I get the coverage, it's $1,000, but it doesn't seem like it's really covering what I needed to cover because it's not enough. So that's the repeat
Well,
for the...
that cost in those HMO type programs is built into that premium. That's a whole benefit. It doesn't cost anything extra inside the program. So it's just it kind of comes with the program.
So this is what I'll say.
Yeah.
When you get, if you go and pick what you want, get your top 3, okay? Get your top 3, save them, and schedule an appointment. We'll look at them for you. Yeah. Because that's a lot of times when you're looking at the paperwork, you don't really know what it's talking about. You're not really sure exactly what's what, and it can be confusing. And then sometimes you may feel like you're buying something that's not good, and it might be good. And then it could be the opposite. Like you didn't get anything that was good for you, right?
That fine print always gets me.
Right. So we definitely want to make sure we get the proper coverage. So pick your top 3, and then we'll check them for you, okay? We have an email address. Wow, yep. I'm going to give it to you later. Yep, we got an email address. I'll give it to you later and make sure we get it because I don't want to say it wrong because it's a little complex, but we'll get it to you. Marcus, if you can help me with that, it's in the email somewhere. I got it. All right, thank you. All right, so that's wonderful. Last one on insurance. We call it the love product. You only get this product if you love somebody. Anybody love somebody? Yeah, not me. Somebody said not me. I didn't say that, okay? She said not me. What kind of love are we talking about? What's love got to do with it? That's good. So when we talk about the love product, we're talking about life insurance, covering yourself, making sure you have the proper coverage to leave. I like to call it our legacy product in reality. Many times we don't understand how the transfer of wealth happens in other cultures is because they load it up on the life insurance. So if something happens, the people don't just leave and not have zero. Many times we are left with bills and not benefits. So we have to think about what are you leaving behind when you pass, and how are you leaving a legacy for your generation? So life insurance is supposed to self-complete what you plan to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a worksheet. You actually have this worksheet in your binder. And we're going to see how much life insurance you actually need. How much life insurance you actually need. Anybody see the document in their binder? Should be toward the back. It should be binder number 2, the bigger one. Yeah, that one that you're in. This is one. Page 29. Do you have enough?
Page 29.
It's 29 pages in there. So they said it's on, the big one, page 29.
Yeah.
29. Okay, do you have enough is what it says at the top. It's in color. All right, so my worksheet may look a little different from the one you have online, but we're gonna go through it. I like my worksheet better, so I'll add it in here next time, okay? I'm taking notes for myself. All right, everybody get the document? All right, anything extra that I may mention, make sure you just kind of write a side note on it. It's your document. Nobody's going to take it from you, okay? All right, so what is your annual income? Would your family need to replace your salary? Anybody? Yes. Now, I always believe this now, when I go, my spouse, he going to be devastated. Probably going to never find another me, right? But at least I can leave him a couple dollars so he can replace my income, for a little while. That's kind of how I think about it. So let's say your annual income is $50,000 a year. How many years do you want to replace your income? I said about 1 because he'll find somebody else and then you spend my money with them. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. The reason that I smile and I have fun when I do these things, life insurance is not fun to talk about. No, it's not. So let's talk about it. Let's have fun and let's make sure we get it. That's kind of how I look at it. Not that it's something to dwell on and say, it's gonna happen. So let's do it. $50,000 in income. I'll replace my income for 2 years. I can do that. That's okay. You all can put whatever number you feel is good. Okay, whatever number you feel is good. That's a total of $100,000 for the replacement of the income. Do you want to pay off any bills that's left behind? Another thing that you want to think about. So one of them is your mortgage. You want to pay off the mortgage whenever you pass away? This is a good thought. Many times, whenever people buy homes, they get offered this thing called mortgage life. Anybody heard of mortgage life? Yeah, they try to offer it to you. It's real inexpensive. We're not encouraging mortgage life because mortgage life covers who? The mortgage companies, right? So it doesn't pay your family, it pays your debt off. Oh, so if I get my life insurance built up the right way, I can cover it myself and it'll go to my family member or my spouse or whoever it is and they can take care of the mortgage versus me getting a policy that'll take care of the house. Because what if my spouse doesn't want the house anymore after we gone, right? So now the house paid off and he don't even want to be there. So we have to think about those kind of things. And he could, that's right. He could sell it or whatever. But if you had a mortgage life policy, well, it's paid off, but it's a whole nother different concept. So I'd rather the person be or the family member be in control of what happens and you build it inside of your life insurance product or policy that you have. Okay. Credit cards. So we put $5,000 for credit cards. Whatever you have, you would put it there. All right. Student loans. Ooh. No, you don't, which is why it says 0. That's a good question. She said, do you have to pay student loans when you die? If you have a Parent Plus loan, that is your loan. But any other student loans, that you have personally, they do not go with you. They do not pass down to your next person. So that should not be paid off if the person passes away. All right? That's very important. Side note, they did come out with the student loan program for you can apply for forgiveness. Oh, good. So 3 minutes? It's real short. It is. It's a really quick application. They're in beta, so make sure you follow up with it. And when I say beta, it's beta testing. They're making sure the system is really good. So if you've already done it, great. Just be sure to follow up because there could be any glitches. You're the first ones to go through the process, okay? So expect there to be glitches. If not, just know that the system is open and you can go to studentloans.gov and go through that process. It'll be there, okay? All right, student loans. Car loans, if you have a car loan, I put $15,000 up there. Let's say that was left over on the car. You want to incorporate that into your plan. What else? Other debt, I just put $20,000. That's a total of $190,000 worth of debt that I'm going to incorporate into my life insurance plan. All right, questions so far? Y'all looking like, ooh, the number's getting big, right? It's all right. Let's keep going. Right, we'll get there. Number of children. I put 2. How many of you have? You want to cover cost of education, right? Let's put $100,000 for each kid. That goes up every year, but can't take that class today. We'll just use $100,000 as the example. For each kid, that's $200,000 for the kids for college to cover. Again, you're just building it into your plan, okay? Funeral costs, how much is it? Anybody know? Is it about $10,000? She said cremation is $2,000. Okay. Hey, whatever you prefer, if whatever's in your will, however that works, whatever you want to do, your choice is $2,000 or $2,000 to $10,000 is what we're looking at in numbers. Okay. All right. Good deal. We got numbers. Listen, we can't tell you how to do your financial plans. We put whatever you want in there, and if you want to be cremated, make sure it's in your will. That's a thing because you'll have people fighting over who's going to do what. Yeah, make sure it's in your will. Have that discussion on paper. Oh, did y'all hear what I said? Have that discussion on paper. Because I'll speak honestly. So I talked to my dad the other day. He said, oh, baby, just do everything you're supposed to do. No. No, Pops. I call him Pops. No, Pops, it doesn't work that way. I said, because it's a lot of us. And everybody not going to agree with what Candace said, especially if you're gone. So let's not do that. Let's put it on paper. So at Thanksgiving, we doing wheels and conversations and stuff like that because that's important for where we're going. And he just needs to update it. Hey, Pops, you need to update it. Things changed. Okay? All right. So total amount of life insurance. So you're going to add up all of those numbers. Are y'all adding y'all's numbers up? This one says $5,000. She says she's hungry. That's what she said. And the food is on the way. That's wonderful. All right. So we have $500,000. Now this says how much life insurance do you currently have? $100,000 is up here. What you want to incorporate is if you have something on your job. Many times they do like 1 time or 2 times the amount of money you make on your salary. Sometimes they do that, or you can get extra. So one of the things we like to mention about your job and life insurance is you need to load up. Why? You load up because it's super inexpensive. It's a group plan. And especially if you have a lot of health challenges, you're on a lot of medication, it may be harder for you to get coverage outside of your actual job. So get it on the job and load up on it. And this is the key, real key. If you retire or when you retire, make sure you get it to transfer with you. So important. Do your best to transfer that life insurance because it's harder to get an additional coverage after you've aged and gotten older and aged up. Your insurance costs more, okay? So just make sure, do your best to get it transferred off of your job when you leave. That make sense? Yes. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, yeah. So that's a good strategy. That's smart. So I'm going to repeat, if that's okay. Yes, sir. I'll get you. So she's so smart. I'm going to repeat what she said. I'm not going to say Candace said this, okay? She said well, what if you've already retired and you want to go hang out with other retired people or just hang out? You know, what if I want to go to certain places that don't make me work hard, but I cannot get those coverages and load up on them? Absolutely, because they're group policies and you can get that coverage at that location if you're working a certain amount of hours and they offer that, okay? Yes, sir. Why is it so expensive? Many times it's because of the age. They may be putting you at a current age. It depends on the company. Some companies allow for you to transfer no matter what your what they call it attained age is. But then other companies may say, hey, we're still going to rate you or underwrite you, although you're transferring out, and they're using it based on your current age. It depends on the company you're working with or who's doing the policies. Yes, sir. So Deacon Thomas, let's talk strategy real quick. Let's say we have a life insurance policy. We're retiring, right? We're retiring. We're getting ready to leave. And the life insurance is super expensive. Like, oh, I don't want to pay that much for life insurance. What are our other options?
Well, life insurance, I guess, let me frame the conversation, okay? Ideally, you would invest over a 20, 30-year period, accumulate a lot of money, so you wouldn't have a big need for life insurance when you retire. Okay?
Can we hold right there,
Yeah.
Deacon Thomas? Did y'all hear what he said? He said if you build your assets over time, you won't need life insurance.
Yeah, you won't have a huge need for life insurance. Sometimes people they just have a thing about life insurance, but all life insurance you're doing, you're buying money. Okay, so if you got $200,000, $300,000, your house paid for, all those things are taken care of, you want to set aside some money to take care of you, you know, for funeral expenses, those kind of things. If something happened, you might even want to go buy you a burial plan. Just pay it up, have it done with, have it out of the way. But the need for life insurance really isn't there. Now, if you need life insurance, if you've got a term contract, and most group plans are term life insurance contracts, you might want to convert that to a lower amount when you retire. Let's say you had a $100,000 term contract on your job. You say, okay, I'm retiring now. Let me get with the company that has this term life. Most of them will allow you to convert it. You can convert it to a $100,000 whole life or whatever. It's going to cost a lot, of course. Or you can convert it to a whole life at a lower amount, maybe $25,000 or $30,000 if you just want to keep life insurance. Those are your options. You can convert those without any more health questions. That's the big benefit of buying on the job. I don't care if you're working every day, you've been diagnosed with a major illness, or whatever it is, and you're still going to work every day during open season, you can buy life insurance with no questions. It's real important you get that, okay? That's where you take advantage of. If you're overweight, no questions. You got diabetes, no questions. You got high blood pressure, no questions. And then later, if you want to take that, you're going to leave the company and convert it to something permanent, you can do that. Just going to cost you a little bit more with no questions. Conversions are no questions, no questions, no questions.
That's good.
Okay?
That's real good. All right, awesome. A couple more things about life insurance. In this example, this person needs $400,000 worth of coverage. That sounds like a whole lot, but let me give you the example. Let's talk about what kind of life insurance you need first, and then I'll show you what the numbers could look like. Anybody heard of whole life? All right, and then we heard of term life. Those are the most commonly heard of policies, so I'll kind of tell you the difference between the two. Whole life builds up cash value over time, helps you to save money over time. It's normally more expensive than term life. Okay, I'm keeping it real simple today. We can get real complex, but we won't. All right, term life has no cash value, has a flat rate over a specific period of time, which is normally up to from 5 to 30 years or more. And then you also, it costs less than whole life. All right. So when we start determining what we're looking for, Deacon Thomas has taught me that, well, we probably don't need that old whole life because of certain situations. So let's talk about it. But it depends on your situation, which policy is best for you. That's very important. So let's kind of look at it. A 30-year-old female needing whole life insurance costs $341 a month. You're like, Candace, where I'm going to get $341? You know I'm trying to get my finances together. I understand. Just hear me out, okay? All right. All right, so when we look at the example, and I don't have it printed for you, so it's probably hard for you to see online. You'll be able to see it a little better. But it's highlighted here to look at $341 a month as a guaranteed amount. Can someone pull out a calculator for me? Let's do this together. Let's do $341 times 12. What is that? All right, $4,092. Great. Now, in this same line here, I'm looking at the guaranteed amount. That's here, okay? For 39 years is what this example is showing. That 4,000 times 39 years is the guaranteed amount. How much is that? Times 39. 159,588. Let's call it 159. Everybody got that number wrote down? That they said, if you put into this policy, we're going to guarantee you 184,000. Now do me a favor. Put 184, 196, so 184,196 minus, what's the number you just gave me? 159. That's fine. 159. Just put it at 159. That's good. 184 minus 159 is what? 24,000 what? $412. Now y'all like, Candace, where are you going? Where are you going? They're guaranteeing you how much? $24,000 more if you put your money in their plan. So how much did you spend? $159,000. What did they guarantee you? $184,000. So they only guaranteed you $24,000 more. How long did you stay in the plan? 39 years. I'm wanting to give you the example of just the guarantee, because the other points of midpoint and the non-guaranteed side is non-guaranteed. I just want to talk about what's guaranteed. So when you on your timeline and people say, oh yeah, we're going to teach you how to become the bank, let's make sure you know exactly what that means, because these kind of policies are wonderful if they're overfunded, which means you have to spend more money than put more in it. But when you look at the numbers, is it really making sense? You're only giving me an extra $24,000. Why am I spending that much money every month on something that's guaranteed? It's because that's what we're taught and many times sold to. So what's the difference? What we like to teach you is if you're young, you're healthy as you're going to be, get yourself a term life policy. That same $400,000 for a 30-year-old person is $23.84 a month for 30 years. Oh, she told me earlier, that's a lot. That's a lot of money, $400,000. Can you tell me $23.84, is that a lot of money? No, it's not. So let's look at the difference. Let's break it down. That's $400,000 over a 30-year period. Let's say you're young, you're doing it. Hey, I'm going to build up my assets. My life insurance is supposed to self-complete what I plan to do. We should buy our life insurance like we buy our auto insurance. Why do we buy auto insurance? Just in case, right? In case somebody hit me. They try to sue me is what she said. If somebody hits me or something happens, just in case something happens, I need to have the proper coverage. Just in case God takes me early than I plan to go, my life insurance will self-complete what I plan to do. Does this make sense? Yeah. So let's look at the difference. If you calculate the difference between the two, so we got $23 versus the $341. Let's call it roughly $300 a month. That instead of buying the whole life policy, I bought the term life policy. I got $300 extra. I invested that $300 at 10% over 39 years, which is the same numbers. I could have what? $1.7 million versus $184,000 that they were going to give me, and it's only about $24,000 more than what I actually spent. What we don't know can hurt us and cost us a ton of money. Our concepts and what we're teaching you, we're going deep and we're making sure we get it, but it's because these are the kind of things we should be doing, but instead people get us with a scarcity mindset saying you should be guaranteed this or the market's not good for you, all those kind of things. But in reality, if we do it over time and stay consistent, we can win. I think I'd take 1.7 million any day. Right? We have to think about that. So what we're looking at is just making sure we have the proper coverages. Let's do a wrap up real quick. We've talked about a lot tonight. Income protection, short-term and long-term disability. All right? We're definitely going for the long-term, but we understand the concepts around short-term. How much is your mini emergency fund? $1,000, 1 to 3,000. Good. How much is your major emergency? 3 to 6 months. Perfect. All right, we got that covered. We're good. If you have your emergency fund, you don't need short term, right? Perfect. Save that money, put it back in your pocket. And honestly, that money that you're saving could be going to your now contingency fund instead of buying the disability coverage. Okay? The short term. You need long term. Critical illness covers you for the big 4. Heart attack. Good. Heart attack, stroke, cancer, and renal failure. And if you love somebody, you got what? Life insurance. And we're going to cover you just in case something happens, right? All right, last thing. Deacon Thomas, if you would stand, let's talk about long-term care real quick, and then we're going to pray and eat and take a break.
All right, long-term care is really important. That's the one thing that's going to protect the assets you've accumulated all your life. Okay, over the age 25 to about 65, you're building money up in 401k accounts, you're saving your investment accounts, and then on a couple of things that can wipe out your investments over that 30, 40-year period it took you to build those up. It's an unplanned lawsuit that could wipe you out if you had a proper liability protection to cover you in a illness that's not covered. It costs somewhere around $5,000 to $7,000 a month to go inside of a rehab facility to take care of you. And most people go to rehab, they're there from 3 to 5 years before they transition. So if you've got that kind of money saved up, long-term care, take part of that money, take the interest off your investments, take part of that money and purchase a good long-term care contract, because that long-term care contract gives you choices. It allows you to pick the facility if you have to spend time in one, but most importantly, it gives you dignity. Let's be real here for a second. None of us, as we get older, we got kids and family and stuff, you don't want one of your kids to have to change their lifestyle because we had poor planning. When I say change their lifestyle, what does that mean? They got to move, stop their jobs where they are, move where they are, move you in with them, or come where you are, bathe and take care of you on a daily basis because unfortunately you got sick and couldn't take care of yourself. Long-term care will allow you to maintain your dignity and be in a nice facility without destroying your kid's life or somebody else's life. But most importantly, it will preserve the assets over that period of time you accumulated. That money now can go to generational wealth for your families if you do have a long-term illness like that. So long-term care is very, very important as you get older. Somewhere between the ages of 55 and 65 is kind of when you want to purchase that. You want to purchase a long-term care contract that pays up in 10 years. Why 10 years, Charles? Well, long-term care contracts, insurance companies just like anybody else, if you don't have a contract that has a guaranteed paid up area for about 10 years, you may have the contract for 7 or 8 years, and guess what they decide to do? No, raise the rate on you. They won't cancel you, but they'll raise the rate, make you cancel it yourself. So it's really important to have that kind of planning in place. So if you got a lot of money, not even a whole lot of money, if you can pull money out of your retirement income or your investments or your 401k or whatever you accumulated, set aside part of that money to buy some long-term care.
That's good.
Yeah.
Deacon Thomas, let's talk about real quickly, let's say we had some different kind of planning and we need, let's say, to go into a facility, we don't have the coverage. Many times we think Social Security or the government will pick up the bill. Can we talk about that
Very important.
pay down and the importance of that?
You're very, very important. This is why your estate planning is so important. Dave was here last week, talked about estate planning. Estate planning, there's a strategy you can use to take all the money, everything you own, and put it inside of a trust where you don't own anything. It has to be done about 5 years before something happens to you. When you do that, you qualify for the federal government to take care of you in a long-term care facility because you don't own anything. If you own something, it's okay, we'll take care of you, but it's called a spend down.
That's right.
You got to spend down everything you got before we spend any money to take care of you. So that's a strategy. Get with a good attorney, do estate planning, put together a trust, and make sure during those years you don't own anything. You own it, but you don't own it, okay? Right. It's a strategy where you put your money inside a trust, and a trust protects your assets.
That's good. All right. Questions?
Any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So do pre-existing condition affect you from getting long-term care?
Well, it will be underwritten. Most times it's got to be something really, really major that affects your mortality, where they turn you down. Long-term care is designed a lot of times for people that are already sick sometimes. Yeah. So underwriting is kind of liberal in long-term care area.
And you said between the age of 55, 65, 50 to
Yeah,
60, something
yeah.
like that. We should be
But
looking
you
at
can,
around
you can buy it
50.
early if you want to. You can buy it when you're 40 if you want to.
Okay.
Lock it down for 10 years, you're done with it while you're healthy, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
You
that's-
can't do that. Okay?
That's good. Another question? Go
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am.
We purchased the Love product, okay? And we just received notification that it's going to, exhaust, they're gonna end it,
Okay.
say like 2025.
Let me repeat her question. She said, we purchased life insurance or the Love product, but they just sent us a letter that said it's going to be exhausted at 2025.
Yeah. Well,
That's a
yeah,
variable.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she bought, well, it won't exhaust you, add more money to it. I tell you that right now, okay? A variable contract or a universal life contract, they have mortality inside those contracts. Periodically, company inside the contract constantly increase the mortality rates. So let's say you start out paying $100 a month, right? You 30, 40, 45 years, you pay $100 a month. You get older, the money that was going towards your cash value, as you get older, the mortality cost goes up, so you have less money going toward the cash value. So more money now is going toward the premium to keep the policy in force. On your variable life, it could have been your investments too, if they went down, okay? On the variable life or universal life, you can keep the contract, you gotta add more money to it. You gotta raise the premium. If you're paying $100 a month, you pay $200 a month, it probably stick around for another 10 years. But you don't have to get under it anymore. You don't have to qualify anymore.
Sounds like one of those documents you should bring because you got 3 that you can bring, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
Well, this is good educational stuff, though. Just one qualifier. When Candace talked about the $400,000 for life insurance and stuff, it's really important you understand that because most people start their careers 25 to about 50. They're raising a family. They're buying homes. They're in a lot of debt, aren't they? You need a lot of life insurance when you're younger. You can qualify when you're in a lot of debt. Because if something happened, the life insurance is going to do what? Self-complete what you plan to do. Because everything you plan to do, send the kids to college, pay off the house, do all the fine things. If you die, you don't have anything to self-complete that. The family's kind of left without a self-completion plan. As you get older, of course, I think around 44, 45 years old, if your money is not accumulating, I want to really put a qualifier on this too, because see, we tell people to buy term life insurance and invest the other money. But you got to be disciplined enough to invest.
That's right.
If you're not going to be disciplined enough to invest, you're going to be older and you'll need life insurance because your investments didn't grow. So once you understand the total concept and the strategy, now you understand why you want to invest on a consistent basis. Build that $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 because you don't want to spend the rest of your life paying for life insurance that you really don't need because you're buying money. Everybody got that?
That's good. All right.
Real important. All
Awesome. Let's take a break. Y'all okay? Take a deep breath. I know. Let's take 5, grab your food, and then we'll come back. Let's take 10 online altogether, 5 minutes on the inside. Bless the food. Let's bless the food. Dear Lord, before we ask you for anything, we'd like to thank you for everything. Thank you for allowing us to be in this space. Lord, we ask you to bless the food, touch the hands that prepared it. Anything that does not belong, we ask you to take it out. In Jesus' name, amen.
I'm not sure about that, but I have to have it posted. Can you call as soon as possible and text me?
Friday, I can't remember, I'm sick. Anyway, give me a bit.
Tom, how you doing? Going back to on. Right, back later.
Great. So our goal is for us not to create what's called a put and take account. Oh, you got one of those? Do not create a put and take account. You put it in and you take it out. Ooh, y'all got it. Boy, that sounds so familiar. Because of an emergency, right? So our goal when we're talking about investing is for us to be able to put the money in there for it to grow, but not for us to create a put and take account to where you're not prepped, you're not planning, you're not doing the pre-stuff that we've talked about, okay? So, of course, we talked about all of the pre-insurance stuff, making sure you do that. That's one of those 3 things that we just talked about and discussed are some of the things you're supposed to do before you start investing. Because if that illness actually happens, we don't have to pull from our investment accounts because we got the proper coverages. Does that make sense? So we're helping ourselves not to create that put and take account. Let's talk about the difference between saving and investing. Saving, everybody say saving, is when you're putting money to the side for a specific amount of time. 5 years or less. 5 years or less, you're saving for a specific amount of time. Normally, you're putting money to the side in order for you, it's just delayed spending, I like to put it that way. You just put it to the side because you're going to spend it later, okay? That's saving. We like to consider in your bank accounts $3,000 or less in a savings account that is at your bank or credit union. How much? $3,000. What we'd like to encourage is for any additional money over that to actually be put into something that's growing, which Deacon Thomas will talk about next week. All right? So $3,000 or less. What's your first goal to get to? $1,000. That's your first goal. Once we get to the 1, we're going to keep going from there. But your goal is to get to 1,000 if you have not started. Sometimes when we use these bigger numbers, it feels intimidating. Don't worry about that. Take your step. Look at where you are. Start where you are right now. And at $3.33 a day, how much is that a month? $100 a month. Even if you just start doing that. Just put that money to the side, okay? All right, specific amount of time, savings, there we go. Investing is 5 years or longer. Your objective is to keep your money there 5 years or longer. That's investing. You want to put that money in there. This is of course long-term investing we're talking about. A concept that Deacon Thomas taught me, and a lot of times I take all his stuff and I just put it in PowerPoints and make it look pretty. So I appreciate him for all the wonderful stuff he teaches me. So 10 years or more, you are looking at a 95% rate of return, for a positive rate of return if you can leave that money in there for 10 years or more. He said if you leave it in there 15 years or more, boy, you're almost guaranteed. Why is he saying that? Because the market goes up and it goes down. And when it go down, it do what? Goes back up, right? So although the concept seems very scary, and of course this depends on your situation, who you are, and what kind of investor you are. What we're talking about is just making sure you understand the concept of saving versus investing. If you got $20,000 in your savings account, you are not investing. That is not investing. It's just sitting there, and it's not growing. Saving is what? Delayed spending. Saving is what? Delayed spending. Investing is when your money is expecting a rate of return. A return on your money is what investing is. When I put my money in there, my objective is to get some money out of it when I put it in there. I'm expecting a return. All right, we got it? Very simple things. So how do I know if my money's growing? You watch it? That's right. But let's talk about what the numbers should look like. Okay, y'all ready? All right, a rate of return of $1,000 invested at 10%, you earn $100. Pretty simple math, right? Well, let's talk about what that looks like and how you can always look at your accounts to determine if your money's growing or not. This is called the banker's secret, or we call it the rule of 72. What the banks don't want you to know. Now, I love Marcus and he's wonderful, but Marcus understands he works at the bank and he loves where he works at, but he knows how the money works. All right? He just laughing at me. So when you look at the rule of 72, you want to write this down. This is so important because when we talk next week, when Deacon Thomas is going over those numbers, I'm going to be like, so how many years is it going to take that money to grow? I'm going to ask you questions about it. So when you take the rule of 72, you say you take 72 divided by the interest rate, and it'll tell you how many years it takes your money to double. Write that down. 72 divided by the interest rate, and it tells you how many years it takes your money to double. We're going to do an exercise together to practice. You got your calculators out. I know you're eating. Wipe them chips off your hand. You'll be all right. Let's do it. All right? Anybody want to tell me what your interest rate is at the bank? Anybody? 0.0001. Now, I love the banks. That's wonderful, but let's be very clear. You should use the bank on what you're supposed to use it for, right? We allow them to store our money. We do those kind of things. We get loans, different things like that. But the important part is that we're using our bank for what it's supposed to be for. And if your interest rate is that low, should we be investing in your savings account? All right, I just want to make sure because it ain't growing. So let's do an example. With an interest rate of 2%, Kate has $10,000 in her savings account at her local bank. With a rate of 2%, how many years will it take her money to double? 36. Y'all already knew. That's real good. You right. You got your calculator out and ready. That's how I love it. Now everybody else catch up. Y'all ready? They went real fast. How'd they get that number? Oh, so we just wrote down, I want to make sure we got it, 72 divided by the interest rate equals how many years it takes her money to double. So that's 36 years for $10,000 to turn into $20,000. We got that kind of time? I don't think so. At least I don't. Everybody understand the concept? You know how to do the numbers? Let me hear you say yes if you got it. All right, 1 or 2 got it. Let's do a whole lot of examples, okay? Let's do it together. All right, let's say you're at 4%. What is the rate at 4%? 4%. How many years is it going to take your money to double? Sorry.
18.
How many? 13, 18? What's the number? 18. 72 divided by 4, I'm doing it with you, there you go, is 18 years for your money to double if we're at 4%. Woo. So let's use this example. Let's say you got $10,000 in an account you want to use. You want to take that money put it in there and just let it sit and double. Well, let's see what that looks like at 18 years. You're at 30 years old. We need to go up a little bit more, huh? She said, you need to go up a little bit more. I need a little more. Okay, well, that's the important part. See, I'm starting with a low number, so that tells you what? I need to maybe get a little higher rate of return if I want my money to move a little faster, right? But let's look at it. $10,000 at age 48 is $20,000 at age 66 is $40,000. Is that enough money for retirement? No. What does the interest rate need to be in order to double that money to 80,000? 8%. Everybody agree with that? Oh, am I unsure? All right, let's see. Let's see. I'm going to move fast with y'all because I want to make sure I can cover everything. You ready? All right, let me teach you this equation, right? I'm going to teach you this equation. Y'all ready? You ready? I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. I ain't going to do you like that. Let's talk simple, how money works, okay? There's a concept called simple interest. Y'all looked at me like, Candace, you crazy? I know. She's like... There's a concept called simple interest and compound interest. Y'all heard of these before? Let's do a breakdown. Here we go. Simple interest is calculated with the principal or the original amount only. I'm going to say that again. It's calculated with the principal or original amount only. So if you start with $1,000, that's the only amount that it's going to use to double your money. Compound interest, on the other hand, is calculated with the principal amount and the interest and growth. Oh, so we're looking at compound interest, and many of you said, well, that number needs to go to 8% in order for it to double. Well, let's talk about it. If you invested $1,000 and it grew to $200, simple interest says you're only going to use what? Which number? The $1,000, right? Because that's simple interest. But compound interest is going to use how much in that same example? $1,200. So the difference between the two allows for us to see that it does not take you 8% in order for that number to double. It's going to take you 6% because of the way compound interest works. Did you just learn something? Good. Let's keep going. $10,000 at 6%. How many years is that? It's okay. Use your calculator. I'm not in here by myself. 12? Think you got it. 72 divided by 12. The reason that I'm telling you all to do the activity is because when we leave here and you go to your job and you look at your rate of return that's been there, you should be able to calculate, man, my money's going to do this, right? If you leave here and you go and look at your savings account at your bank when you got more than $3,000 in there, it's like, man, my money should be doing this, right? Let's keep going. 10,000, and then it doubles all the way to 80,000 at age 66. Is that enough? No. You said you want about 15? All right. So what we'd like to teach you is when we look at the banker's secret, this is the thing that's happening. If they're giving us 4 and 6% or 0% or whatever, right? We have to think about how money's working and how much are they actually getting on our money. Now, we talking about investing, but what's another way that banks earn money? Fees. What else? Did you say something?
No, I was saying fees and interest.
You get it. That's it. Interest. What's your credit card interest rate? Ooh. 16%. That's low. 26%, 27%, 28%. So we wonder why the bank's buildings and stuff so big. Well, that's all wonderful and all, but we got to understand the systems. If they're giving us 4 and 6%, they're making 12 or more, right? But then not only are they making that, they're also getting our interest on credit cards and different loan programs that may have higher interest rates. Regardless of what it is, we have to understand how the systems work, right? Now, we're not saying don't use them to your advantage. If that's what you need, use it, but you have to understand what's happening. So if we look at 12%, how many years is that? 6. Okay. How we get 6? 72 divided by 12. Good. So 72 divided by 12 makes your money double every 6 years. This is going to look a little bit better, right? So that $10,000 example now turns into $80,000. Let's go here first. $40,000 at 42. So at age 42, the bank had already made $40,000, but when did they give you $40,000? At 66. They already made the money. Wow. At 48, the bank had already made $80,000. When did they give you $80,000? At 66. So what we're doing, we're not bashing the banks. That's not a thing. What we're saying is understand systems, understand how interest works, understand how your money works, and from that perspective, how can we get 12% or more? That's the question we start to ask. Okay, so from that perspective, at age 54, that's $160,000. That same $10,000. At age 60, that's $320,000. Age 66, that's $640,000. I think we did pretty good, right? That's a difference. Let's really talk about the difference here. The difference between coming to Money Matters and not coming to Money Matters is a $600,000 decision. It really is, because I don't know where else they teaching this stuff at. I don't. And I'm not bragging on what we do, but I'm really bragging on what we do. We are wanting us to understand how money works, and it's not just I'm going to come to class or not come to class. It's a $600,000 decision, whether you're coming or not, because that's the difference between your money doubling and growing and you understanding how it works. It's the difference between us paying our debt off. It's the difference between us doing and managing for real and not playing. Okay. Now, y'all in class, so I ain't even talking to y'all. The concept, though, we have to be very clear about what's happening. So the bank is earning money off of our money, fine. But if we're gonna let them do that, we got to play the same game. Let's do it as well. It's a $600,000 decision, but even on top of that, there's a concept that allows the bank to loan out your money. For every $1,000, they can loan it out 10 times. For every $1,000 you have in the bank, they can lend it out 10 times. Should we be using our money for ourselves so that we can begin to earn money off of our money? That's what we should be doing. Does that make sense? Good. What we don't know can hurt us and cost us a ton of money. All right? So with this concept, let's talk about a couple things. Y'all ready? I'm going to go ahead and go all the way in. Deacon Thomas said, it's not about, I put him up there, yeah. He laughing like, Candace, did you really do me like that? Yes. That's my guy. Let me tell y'all. I met Deacon Thomas about 5, 6, 7. I don't even remember anymore. It's been a long time. I'm going to say 5 to 7 years ago. I met Deacon Thomas, and he was like, she a little rough. Oh, he told me, she a little rough. But he committed to teaching me, and I appreciate that. He committed to teaching me because I was willing to learn the concepts and the strategy. And when he taught it, I just started writing everything down like, oh, my God, I feel like I've lived, but I've never really known what's happening in the world until now. And when I understood my finances, that helped me understand the world a lot better. So I appreciate you, Deacon Thomas, for teaching me that. And then I'll be putting him on the screen like, hey, let me tell you about what he taught me, okay? So he said, how you invest is just important as your rate of return. That's powerful. Let me tell you why. There's a concept called dollar cost averaging. It's in your book. Yep. It's in your book. What page is it on? 32? 32. It's in your book, page 32. It's called dollar cost averaging. Everybody say it with me. Dollar cost averaging. One more time. Dollar cost averaging is a concept that allows for you to buy shares consistently and get a better rate of return than you just putting a lump sum of money into something and letting it sit. Let's talk about what that looks like. All right, here we go. Now the concept, how you invest is just as important as your rate of return. So we may want 10, 12, 15%, but how are you investing to get that 10, 12, 15%? Let's look at that. Okay, here we go. You have an example on the screen. I'm going to give you the example. I don't want you to write anything. I want you to get it. All right, let's talk about it. You have a fund. You want to invest $3.33 a month. How much is that? I mean, a week, a day. $3.33 a day is how much a month? All right, let me get it right. I got it. I'm going to do a retake. Y'all do it again for me, okay? You're going to invest $3.33 a day, which is how much a month? All right, $100 a month. That fund price started out at $10. You see the fund price? Kind of hard to see on the screen. Work with me. You see that? At $10, you invest $100. You bought 10 shares. Simple, right? That next month in February, the fund price went down to $9. You spent how much money? $100. When I say how much money you spent, I want you to say $100. Y'all ready? How much money you spent? $100. Got it. That meant you bought 10.73 shares. In March, the fund price went down to $8. How much money did you spend? $100. Same $100. That's what you said. All right, you actually purchased 12 shares that month. You see that? I'm going to skip down. Oh, I like that one. June, share price, fund price went down to $7. How much money did you spend? $100. You actually bought 12.99, almost 13 shares that month. Are y'all catching what I'm doing? Oh, yeah. Let's keep going. In September, the fund price went to $8.97. How much money did you spend? $100. Y'all get the concept. All the way to December, where the fund price, November, the fund price went back up to about $9.70. How much money did you spend? Man, y'all got it. The whole concept. Over the whole 12 months, $100 a month times 12 is what? $1,200. Simple math. You spent $1,200 and your return on investment was 15.77. Now, I want you to keep that in your mind. I'm going to keep it on the screen. Everybody got it? 15.77. Let's do a pop quiz. How many years did it take your money to double at 15.77? Do it at 16 just because. Use your calculator. Use your calculator for me. How many years did it take your money to double? 4.5 years, 4.5 years. Now, let's say you took that same $1,200 because you didn't come to Money Matters and you thought you was going to be smart, right? I'm putting my money in that account, that same $1,200. I put it in there in January, and what did I do every month after that? Nothing. But what was happening? The fund price went what? Up, and it went what? It went what? And it went what? But what were you all doing every month? You were spending money, new money, every month on that same account. Consistent. Listen, I know the market going up. I know it's going down. I'm watching my money, but I ain't scared because I understand, right? I'm watching my money, but I ain't scared because I understand, right? Instead of doing that, somebody went and been smart, and they put the $1,200 in there. So when the market went up and it went down, it went up and it went down. This person that was putting their money in, money was going up and down, but there was no new money to help it. That rate of return was 1.3%. Are you telling me that there's not a difference between how you invest your money? It absolutely is. Because your new money being put into that account is buying you new shares every single month, no matter what the market's doing. And it's allowing you to grow your money. So when the market goes down, you bought shares on sale. Anybody like a clearance? You bought your shares on sale. Look at it. In June, it was $7. I got almost 13 shares in June. But in December, it was $10, so I only got 9 shares, but I still bought new shares. In June, it was on sale. I got a little bit more, right? But over there, I wasn't doing nothing. 1% versus 15.77. So when we look at the concept, the rule of 72 says 72 divided by your interest rate means your money's doubling every 4.5 years if you take and do the math, right? Versus, I'm just going to put my money in there and let it sit because I'm lazy and I don't want to do it. Or, I ain't listening to them. They don't know what they talking about. I understand. Well, go on and get you a little 55 years for your money to grow then. It doesn't make sense, right? the thing. We have to understand what's happening and how our money works. Does this make sense? Is this new for you all? I really hope we get it. Like, if we do this, if we get this, we change generations. Because we now know and understand how money works, and our generations can do the same. It's a real thing. Consistently. One other example. Compound interest, 10% over 10 years, over a time frame of 40 years. Same $10,000, 40-year period is $452,000 on a one-time investment. But that same $100 a month, we drilling that 100, because a lot of times we think we ain't got no money. We got $100. $3.33 a day. $632,000 is the difference between those two numbers for a one-time investment of $10,000 versus $100 a month over a 40-year period at 10%. That's a huge difference, you all. Yep.
Could you go back 1 second? That on a 10-year and a 20-year on that $100 a month, how much is that?
10-year and 20-year on the 100. 10-year is $20,000. 20-year is $75,000.
So, what I say about that? $3.33 a day.
$3.33 a day.
Every amount you waste, you lose the opportunity to invest it, and that's what it's costing you. I want y'all to get that. Every $100 that you waste a month, don't know where it went, that's the real cost of what it's costing you over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So you got to get radically what? Responsible. You got to get mad at yourself sometimes. So I can't waste that $100. I'm not investing that. That's what it costs, the lost opportunity cost. Thanks, Count. I'm done.
Absolutely. Most of the time when we look at our money and we wonder where it's going, we just eat away our wealth. That's all. Oh, we just eat it. We just eat it away. All right. So questions. Let's do that first. Remember to post your questions. Great. You should come next week. Yeah. Her question was, how do you know what to invest in? Yeah. I'm going to help you. I got one other thing for you, though, because we got time today. Oh, yeah, we're on good timing. There's a risk profile sheet in your documents. Let's do that real quick because we got time. Yep, let's knock it out. So that we can have time to share with you the things that you should be investing in. It should be the same book. That should be the same book, risk profile. 34, page 34, that same book. Let's see here. All right. Anybody know what kind of investor they are already? Okay. I'm a savings account investor. All right. That's wonderful. You know what? I'm so glad you said that. We're going to remember that. Because next time, you're going to be like, I'm an investor, honey. I do $100 a month at least. That's right. Absolutely. At least. Let's do it. So, because the thing is, I'm going to pick on you for 2 seconds. It's really not even about that. It's about us really believing that we can be. It's more that than anything. All right? What kind of investor are you? Let's talk about it. When we talk about your investment portfolio or your risk tolerance, it just talks about what you can handle as it relates to the market. What's your money going up and your money going down? How long will you be in the investments? Things like that. Okay? If someone's giving you investment advice and they don't know what kind of investor you are, you shouldn't be talking to them. Giving people information is one thing. Education is one thing. But giving advice to say, oh, you should do this, we should be very careful with, because what happens is that your situation, Ms. Danica, right? Ms. Danica is going to be different from Ms. CJ's situation. Y'all have different ages. You have different goals, things like that. So when you look at your investment profile, you want to figure out what kind of investor am I and what's best for me. Ready? Let's do it. Your time horizon plays a big part. When will you begin withdrawing the money from the investment account? That plays a big part. I'm going to go through the questions with you in just a moment, but I'm just kind of walking you through what it means. Your risk tolerance says some investments fluctuate more dramatically over time. So that just means the investments go up and they go down. How much risk can you take? That's the question. How much risk can you take? This document is going to help you figure that out. All right, let's do it together. You should have a document. We should be filling it out together. If you're online and you didn't download the document that you have, just write down number 1 with the answer, okay? Write down number 2 with the answer if you don't have the documents with you, okay? Let's go. I plan to begin, this is number 1. I plan to begin withdrawing my money from my investment account in 3 years or less, and you circle what's best for you. I'm going to do an example, but you circle what's best for you. 3 to 5 years, 6 to 10, or 11 years or more. What is your number? Circle it on your paper. You don't have to call it out. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. All right? Number 2, once I begin withdrawing funds, does everyone have an answer to number 1? We're good? Yes. Okay, good. Once I begin withdrawing funds from my investments, I plan to spend all the funds in less than 2 years or 11 years or more, anything in between. You can read, just circle your answers. All right? Once I begin withdrawing funds from my investments, I plan to spend it all. So that means when I take it out, how fast do I plan to spend it? Less than 2 years, 2 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 or more. Everybody have an answer? Yes. Add those answers together. It says enter your total points for number 1 and 2. It gives you your time horizon. This example, the time horizon is 15. What is your time horizon? 18, 11, 18, 4. Interesting. Your numbers may be good or a little skewed. We need to talk about that depending on your age. Who said 4? You said 4. You're too young for that. We're going to work on it. We're going to work on it, right? Me and you, we're going to work on it. Well, the thing is, and let me read what's next. So this is very important. It says a score less than 3 indicates a very short time horizon, right? Score less than 3 says a very short time horizon. So with a short time horizon, you have relatively low risk and a portfolio of 40% short term. Bonds, bond funds, and 60% cash investments are suggested, as stock investments may be too volatile for you if your number is 3 or less. If it's 4, it's fine, put the number. If it's 18, just write the number. We're going to use that again later, so hold on to it, okay? Everybody good? Got a number? Number 3, we're going to move quickly. I would describe my investment knowledge as none, limited, good, or extensive. Circle an answer. I just circled 1. 3, I put limited. Put your number. I will share with you, the more you learn, the higher your numbers get. So if your numbers aren't where you feel like they need to be or you don't know, it's okay. The more you learn, the higher your numbers get, okay? Number 4, when I invest my money, I am most concerned about my investments losing. I am equally concerned about my investments losing or gaining, or I am most concerned about my investments gaining value. So the first one is saying, I don't want to lose no money. The second one is saying, I'm putting layman's terms for you, okay? The second one is saying, I want to make some money, but I don't want to lose none either. I'm just kind of even. And then the third one's like, listen, I'm just trying to make some money out here in the streets. That's what it said, okay? I just want to make some money, okay? Y'all ready? Everybody got a circle, an answer? All right, good. I circled 8 on this one. All right, number 5. Select the investments you currently own. Bonds or bond funds, stock or stock funds, or international securities in that case. So this one gets always a little more complex. If you're not sure, if you just got a 401k, just circle 3. Okay? If you got a 401k and that's it, circle 3. If you got outside investments, like a mutual fund or things like that, circle 6. All right? And if you're doing international kind of stuff, and I would even say like Bitcoin, that kind of stuff, you could circle 8. Okay? Just to kind of give you some perspective. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good question. All right, everybody got a circle? Number 6. All right, consider the scenario. You have $100,000 in an investment account. It lost 25% of its value in how long? One day? Let's just say it lost 25% of its value. So you had 100,000, it dropped on paper to 75,000. What would you do? It says sell all my shares. I'm selling everything, which means I'm taking it out. That's what she said. I would sell some of my shares. I ain't gonna take all of it out, but I'm taking some of it out. And it said, I ain't doing nothing. I'm just gonna sit here. Or I'm gonna buy some more. Just circle what you would do. I'm taking it out. Hey, do whatever you feel like you should do. It's up to you. But I'm going to tell you what I circled. I circled 8. Who says buy more? I got you. If I had time, I'd tell you. We just said dollar cost averaging does what? It go up and down, up and down. Did I really lose if my account lost value? It just dropped in value, right? Correct. Now let's be very clear. I lose if I take it out because now I can't make my money back. Right? I never lose until I pull it out. Remember that. Very important. If you got time, give it time. Right? If you don't, get an investment advisor because you should have had one. Get an investment advisor. We probably shouldn't have been there. I'm really encouraging that. Okay? If I had time, I'd tell you. Buy more shares. That's it. All right, number 7, review the chart. Review the chart. It says we've outlined some possible best case and worst case scenarios. I just need you to circle one that you feel like is good for you. If you take 72 divided by the numbers, it'll tell you what it's growing. A is averaging 7%, best case 16, worst case 5. I'm going to just kind of skip. C is averaging 10%, meaning your money's doubling every about 7 years. Best case 33%. Worst case, 18. E, averaging 12%. Best case, 50%. Ooh. What's 50%? 72 divided by 50. 1 year, your money double. Worst case, 28%. Something to think about. I circled 6 just in the example. You're going to add up 3 through 7 and get your risk tolerance. Please add up 3 through 7. Circle your answers, add up 3 through 7. This number is 28 as the example. I got 3 minutes. Everybody got a number? 27. What's the numbers? 20, 28, 39. Anything else? Some of you are more aggressive than others. Now go to the next page. It should be a colorful blue document that looks like this one. On your time horizon, you're going to find that first number we just went over, and you're going to find it over here on the side. 15 was the number I had in the example, and then I'm going to find the other number at the top, and you could just put stars by each of them, and then mine was 28 on this example, so you're going to find it and meet it in the middle. It tells you what kind of investor you are. Okay? Moderately aggressive, somebody said. Moderate, someone said. What kind of investor are you? Anybody? Moderate? Okay, no conservatives today? Okay, 1 conservative. 2, 3. Okay, that's good, that's fine. Guess what? It doesn't matter. No answer's wrong. Right? Every answer is you. It's just you. That's going to tell you what kind of investor you are. So next week when Deacon Thomas comes in, he's going to go over this last sheet and just kind of talk about what these things mean, how they break down. We're going to talk about your retirement accounts at your jobs, how to make sure you're looking at them, how they're growing if they are, right? Some of those good things to talk about because of especially the space we're in. But you at least know what kind of investor you are. So on this last page, circle your area. I kind of put a mark behind this one. Do your area so that you'll know when we're talking next week, he's going to say, oh, this is this is a growth stock fund, or this is a small cap fund, a large cap fund. He'll talk about those things and you'll say, okay, I need about 10% over there, or I need about 25% over there of that kind of fund. Does that make sense? So now you got the beginning part of where you should be as it relates to what kind of investor you are. Is that helpful? All right. Questions, comments, observations? We got a lot of time? We don't have a long time. We got 1 minute, Lord. But let me tell you, I got through everything and some extra stuff with you all today. So I wanted to make sure we pushed it because I really want us to be able to have time to dig in next week. It's our last class. We want to be able to give you as much as we can, and that's why we did this today, so we can get as much in next week and get those questions answered while we go through the process. Any questions? We're okay?
I'll take just 2 minutes.
All right. Give us an extra 2 minutes today. Can y'all give us an extra 2 minutes today? Thank y'all so much. All
Hey,
right.
give Candace up. Give her a hand. Give her a hand. All right. So I guess she stepped away from the portal. So
Yeah.
no problem. Hey, listen, I got a little homework for you guys. I got a couple questions for you. I'm going to get the homework out first. We'll do that real quick. Next week, I need you to look up what is the S&P 500. I need you to look that up. Go to Google and look that up, okay? S&P. It's called S&P. S with an N in the middle, then P, 500. All right? Okay, what is a stock? Okay, write that down. What is a mutual fund? What is the Dow Jones? What is the NASDAQ? NASDAQ. Okay? What is an IRA? IRA. What is a Roth IRA? I need you to go to SSA.gov. SSA.gov. If you don't have a Social Security account set up, you should just set that up and look at what your benefits look like moving forward, okay? All of you guys who have retirement plans, 401ks, I need you to pull your 401k and find out where all your money is being invested at, what fund, target fund, whatever it is. I need you to write that down, what that is. We'll cover a little of that, okay? 403Bs, 457s, whatever you got, write that down, okay? I think that's about it. One quick question. What are the big four? I need the big four in order. Somebody raise your hand.
I
Okay.
feel like Juanita did it first.
Which one is Juanita?
Juanita did it first.
All right, she gets the
She
card.
did it first. She did it
All
first.
right.
She did. She did.
All right.
I got to give you that.
All right. Got one other quick question, and we're going to go. You want to ask one quick question in your training, Candace?
You put me on the spot. I don't remember.
What's the mini emergency fund? How much? How much is a mini emergency fund? How much? How much, Ken?
Yeah. It's too many. I can't pick.
How much is a mini emergency fund?
Yeah.
Was she first? 1,003. Who was first?
I got nothing.
Let's ask another question. Then we got to go. Okay. How much is too much money in an emergency fund?
She got it. She got it.
She got it?
Yeah.
All right.
He said, how much is too much money in your emergency fund? What's the number? $3,000.
Or more.
Congratulations, Mr.
3,000 or more. Okay,
That's
good deal.
good.
I think
Somebody
that's
missed
it.
that.
Yeah. Give it up for Candace. Great job tonight. All right. Oh, we got Pastor T here tonight. Come on up, discipleship pastor. Close it out. We got the great Pastor T in the house. Thank you. He was out of town last week. Did you have a good time? All right.
Let's give it up for Deacon Thomas here. Great job you've done. Hey, you're almost to the finish line. One more class. Let's come energize and make it a great celebration. And this information is really going to help you and bless your life. Let's pray. Father God, we say thank you for giving all of us the power, the strength to persevere, to carry on. I pray that all of the information that have been shared all these weeks, that through the power of your Holy Spirit, you'd bring it back to remembrance in the proper time. I pray, Father God, for provisions on the lives that I'm speaking to, dear Father. You provide better than anyone else. Now, Father God, as we leave this place, we know